It's that time. Everything and anything basketball, presented by The Outrage. With Kajan Castle and host Spencer Byers, this is Polar Opposites.
Welcome, everyone. Polar Opposites back again, regularly scheduled programming. Finally getting back to some normalcy here on the Outrage Inc. Spencer Byers, Cajun Castle alongside me. Cajun, we're back. Nice to be back. Nice to be back on our regularly scheduled programming.
Mm-hmm.
And as it is All-Star break, it is the All-Star, I'll say weekend. I guess technically it's still the weekend, just ending the weekend. The All-Star game is over. 211 to 186. East All-Stars beat the West All-Stars. Lillard with a 39-point performance gets the All-Star MVP. But, Cage, that isn't really the story. The story isn't that it was the highest scoring All-Star game ever. It's not that the East All-Stars set the record for most points scored ever. It's not the game had the most points ever. It's not that, it wasn't any individual performance. Karl Anthony Towns just somehow got on the floor, had 50 points on like 85 attempts. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's got to do with the weekend being rather lackluster, to say it politely. Cage, and I didn't watch it. I openly don't like All-Star games or Pro Bowl or any of it. I think it's all hogwash and garbage. You, I believe, watched some of it. So, Cage, what did you make of the NBA All-Star weekend that is now just concluded?
I would have been better off sleeping.
Which I technically was, by the way.
Oh, fair enough. You did yourself a favor. You saved yourself. I should have followed DJ Khaled's advice and not played myself. Just should have placed the over on the All-Star game, which I did, by the way. That was a high IQ call, and just fall asleep and call it a day. Like the skills contest, honestly didn't even watch it.
Pacers did win, by the way. Pacers, the home team, the hometown Pacers of Halliburton, Mathurin, and Turner won the skills comp. So shout out to the Pacers.
3-point contest, obviously. With the 3-point contest, it's always competitive. So,
but Lillard won that. Lillard two-peated his 3-point crown. He's now a 2-time reigning defending 3-point champ. Curry wasn't in it. He obviously had his own event, which I know you watched. But so Lillard doubled up on his 3-point award.
And you mentioned Wardell Stephen Curry Jr. going up against Sabrina Ionescu, which to me was the highlight of Saturday.
Yeah, you have it here in the doc about NBA All-Star Weekend. What was the highlight? I didn't watch it. I watched the replay of it, basically on the score. It was Sabrina versus Steph. That was the highlight. It was Sabrina Ionescu shooting I'm pretty sure a guy's ball, but it may have been women's ball. Regardless, shooting a basketball.
I think it was
from
a girl's
behind.
ball, but she was at the men's line.
Yeah, she was shooting from the men's 3-point line. She wasn't even shooting from the women's 3-point line, which is closer than the men's. She was shooting from the men's 3-point line. And I mean, in all fairness to her, who again has now played WNBA basketball in 3-4 months. Their season ended midsummer or end of summer. So we're now in February. Her season's coming close to starting in the WNBA, right? So she's been off, and she made Curry work for it. It wasn't easy for the greatest 3-point shooter
Honestly,
ever.
the way she started, she didn't end well, but the way she started, I'm like, oh boy, Steph. And this ain't a cakewalk for you. I'm like, I know Steph Curry's the greatest shooter of all time, but when I saw Sabrina start yakking it up in that first rack, and I'm like, Steph might be getting a little nervous. He's sweating a bit. That was the highlight, and then the dunk contest was just a wash.
Yeah, we're not even gonna talk about the gun contest. It was a joke. Mac McClung repeated as now a two-time reigning defending dunk champ. It's a joke. The event should be scrapped. It was cool. It had its purpose. It doesn't anymore. No one cares. You don't have the best dunkers in it. And even when you did, you pissed him off. Like poor Aaron Gordon, who somehow never got one. So, we don't need to talk about it, Cage, to be completely honest, because it was just a waste of an event. And that's
Mm.
no offense to Mac McClung, who's now a two-time reigning champ, as I just said, but it was garbage. It was garbage.
Yeah, and that attempt by Jalen Brown, bruh.
I don't want to hear that. He got in the final. I don't want to hear that. Like, Cage, I don't want to hear that, okay? When he
What?
made the final, I don't want to hear that.
What was that?
Cage, I didn't watch it. Okay? I didn't watch it. I literally saw the replay of each dunk, kind of, and heard the people complaining about the scores. That, again, doesn't matter because who cares? The dunk contest sucked. And that's, again, no offense to Mac McClung, who was obviously the best one there, and that's even as a Jalen Brown fan, but it was a joke. It was a joke. And not a
Fair enough.
funny one, might I add. Not a funny one.
It was a joke indeed. Like, man. And then All-Star game, and then the All-Star game just in general, basically glorified LA Fitness run. No defense.
Cage, just to. Okay. So the game wasn't any longer than a regular NBA basketball game, which is, 4 quarters, 15-minute quarters.
12.
No, 12-minute quarters, pardon me. 15-minute quarters is football, 12-minute quarters, 48 minutes. They played 48 minutes of basketball. For example, the Warriors and the Jazz in the last game before the All-Star break. 140-137 win for the Golden State Warriors to put them into the 10th play-in or keep them in the 10th play-in spot in the Western Conference. The Warriors shot 92 times. The Utah Jazz shot 93 times. Okay? Just for knowledge. The Warriors shot 92 total shots and the Utah Jazz shot 93 total shots in a 140-137 game. In a 211 to 186 game, the West All-Stars shot the ball 143 times. The East shot 146 times. And Cage, I thought the three-pointers were lower. I'm going to give you those too. So the Golden State Warriors, who shoot the most threes by any team, ironically, the Jazz outshot them on that night. So back to that night between Golden State and Utah. The Warriors shot 42 behind the arc, Utah 49. So of the 92 shots the Warriors took, 42 were behind the arc, which means 50 shots were taken inside the arc. Okay, keep that in mind. Utah shot 49 times from outside the arc, 93 shots total. So that is well less than that total. I believe that is like 44 attempts inside the arc. Okay,
Bruh.
Exactly, regardless. Okay, so back to the All-Star game. The Western All-Stars, who shot 143 times, shot 71 three-pointers. That's like 50%.
And you know what? And you know what? And you know what? Let me interrupt you. That was paltry
Compared
because
to the Eastern Conference, who, before you give away my lead, you insert swear word here. Well, I was trying to not say it, but couldn't think of a word to call you, so insert swear word here works. Of the 146 that the East shot 93 three-pointers. They were 3 away from 100 three-pointers in one game. That's 25 a quarter, just about. If it was 100, it would have been 25 three-pointers per quarter. So they shot well into like 70% or 65% of their shots from behind the arc. And they did make a record 42 threes. I'd hope so, Cage, if they're shooting 97 with no defense.
and our favorite player Tyrese Halliburton went 10 of 14 from behind the arc.
I mean, Cage. Jalen Brown went 6 of 12 from behind the arc. So I'm just saying. Can I also just say Halliburton had 15 shots, 11 makes. 14 of those were from 3, of 10 were makes. So he shot one time from inside the arc and made it.
Yeah.
And Giannis shot 3 threes in the All-Star game, didn't make one. LeBron also shot 3 threes, didn't make one.
Hey, man.
You know, as I mentioned, Cat had 50 points, took 35 attempts to get there, shot 13 times from behind the arc, made 4. You know, for the quote unquote greatest shooting big man of all time. Yeah, what a joke that is. Anyway,
I
so
mean, he
like
dropped a 50 piece.
on 35 attempts, you give me 35 attempts, I bet you get 30.
He went 23 or 35. I don't know what you're talking about.
4 for 13 behind the arc. Anyway,
Yeah,
anyway,
23 or 35 is also nothing to
with
see.
no defense, Cage with no defense. He's a big man with no defense.
No, he had some.
Don't try me. Don't
He
try me.
some of his dunk packages were better than Brown, Toppin, and Jaime Jaquez Jr. combined.
I'm not arguing, Cage. All I'm saying is I don't care. I don't care. Okay, I don't care. When 100 of the 186 points from the West are inside the paint, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know where else to go with the All-Star game because the All-Star game and the All-Star weekend was garbage. So without dogging on it any more than we already have, which we're probably going to keep doing that because the All-Star game sucked, Cage and I are going to try to fix it. So what we've done is we are going to come up with a couple of things or a thing to try to fix it. And I will say right now, I would just scrap it. But I'm forcing myself to fix it. Spencer, I don't get a chance to just say, you know what? Just tear it down and don't build it back again. Just leave it flat. Make it a parking lot, you know? I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to try to make it a more watchable, interesting, fascinating product. That's the rule we're going to go with. So, Cajun, how would you fix the All-Star game? How would you fix the weekend? How would you make it more interesting and fun to watch?
Well,
What
first of
would
all,
you do?
bring back Elam Ending. Bring back Elam Ending because at least it got people getting competitive with playing defense.
Oh, you mean like when they put like a final score?
Yeah.
I kind of like that too. So
But
I will agree with you there.
I don't
That was
know
kind of cool.
why they thought bringing it back to the traditional All-Star format would work with this with the players that are playing right now. Because come on, that was never good. Like it only works if the players take the All-Star game seriously and they actually defend. These players don't. There's got to be incentives, financial incentives, first of all, and also do what the MLB does. Whoever wins a game hosts the NBA Finals. Like if you're gonna keep the All-Star game, at least have some incentive. At least make these players have some incentive to play for home court advantage. And yes, there's going to be some guys that are not playoff contenders that might think indifferently of it, but like the guys who are trying to compete for a title, like gives them more incentive to compete. So whoever wins the All-Star game gets home court advantage. Like the quarter thing, the winning quarters go into charity. Um, Elam Ending. I don't know why they scrapped that because that was actually not a bad idea. And then home court advantage for the NBA Finals.
Is that it, Cage? Is that what you come up with?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you try to fix it. So I've come up with some dastardly ideas, Cage. So as is how I would fix the All-Star game. There's two different ideas, two different ways you could go with it. So if you wanted to keep it as the more traditional East versus West, blah 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 blah, okay. You don't take the best players in the world. Now, why don't you take the best players in the world, Cage? Well, because they're all making $40 million a year and they don't need to play in this stupid game. Okay? Understood. Got it. You take one bench player every team in the NBA. So 15 guys on one team, 15 guys on the other. You name a captain who is an all-star. So say Jokic versus Embiid, for example. Embiid's team the East, Jokic team the West. They draft the best bench players from each team, one from each team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You then make the winning team, win $5 million, or win a pot of $25 million that's split between each guy. So then the teams actually play. And then you get to shine a light on guys who don't get that lot of shine because they're not starters, like Peyton Pritchard for the Celtics, like Oscar Thompson right now for Detroit, like the litany of other great bench players, Isaiah Quick or Emmanuel Quickly for the Knicks previously,
Now, right now, the
Bones
Raptors.
Highland previously, or Bruce Brown previously for the Nuggets, right? I think that could be really interesting. And then the other idea to try to fix the game, the All-Star game, is you scrap it, the East versus West garbage. You change it to division. There's 3 divisions per conference. There's 5 teams in each division. You change it to a divisional format. So each division gets their own team. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You make it a 3-on-3 game. You send, 2 guys from each team. That's 10 players. You play a 3-on-3 tournament and make it like 5 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever. So every game can be played in one day. And you have money incentives. You win the first game, the team wins. So if there's 10 guys, the first game you win $1 million. The second game, if you win, you win, God, how much? You win 5 million. If you
Mm-hmm.
win the third game, you win the championship, you make 10 million. And yeah, I know 6 teams is an odd number. But then you can just do like you instead of playing like, how do I explain this? Instead of like having everybody play like just like a round robin, you could literally just do like a skills comp first or something, to eliminate 2 teams, and then you play the games. Or you just make each team play each other once, and then just do the top 2 teams play in the final, or top 4 teams play in a 1 versus 4
Mm-hmm.
format. But I think I honestly, Cage, thinking about it now, I'd prefer the division. I think that could be fun. Like imagine a team like an Atlantic East team with the Celtics, the Knicks, the Sixers, the Nets, and the Raptors. Imagine a team with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, Mikal Bridges. Who else would even go for the Nets? Nick Claxton? No, maybe Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas.
Cam Thomas. And then the Raptors would probably send Scotty Barnes, and if you're looking for another big, maybe go Pirtle. If you're looking for another guards forward, maybe Barrett at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Barrett or Trent Jr.
I'd say Barrett or Quickly.
Well, but yeah, I guess, quickly too. Fair. That's fair. Like those teams, could be fun. You've got the Central, which would be, the Cavs, the Bucks, the Pacers, the Bulls, and the Pistons. So you'd have a team with, I don't know who the second player would go for Cleveland, but maybe you go D. Garland and Mitchell. Then the Bucks, you take Lillard and Giannis. Then you take maybe Halliburton and maybe Turner,
Siakam.
maybe. The Bulls, you take Vooch and probably DeRozan or Cody White or Colby White, pardon me. And then from the Pistons, you can take literally anybody. Kate Cunningham and Jay Ivey. You can take Duran.
Cunningham and Duran.
I mean, probably maybe an Oscar could get in a mention, and make it maybe like a fan vote, so because again, if you make it a fan vote, then you can get some joke players. You could get for say, the Atlantic Division, you could get a joke player in, like, the Raptors vote in Grady Dick, or the Celtics vote in, Al Horford.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could get really fun, and if it's a 3-on-3, then the guys, there's less space, there's more space, you can kind of, have some more fun with it, you know? And if you make the game shorter and maybe you make it like a, first to 25 or first to, a certain number, then you can kind of control how long the games are. But that's how you really fix the game.
Mm-hmm.
You just try to incent. You have to. I think that's the key though, Cage. Is between your and I's ideas is you gotta make an incentive. Because if we saw with the in-season tournament, unless you put an incentive in there's going to be no effort. There's going to be no defense. There's going to be no, attempt to detail or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I would love to see the 3-on-3, and then if you want to add an event, add something to the weekend to make fans interested. The easiest thing to add, which I know why they don't add it because of the ego that would come involved in this, is a one-on-one competition. Is you add a one-on-one and every team can send a guy, or you can just do like there's 16 guys or whatever, however many you want to do. You do a one-on-one competition first to 21, or first if you want to make it lower, first to 16 or first to
11.
12 or whatever, first to 11, whatever, right? You just have a one-on-one comp, and it's ones and twos, of course, and just see, who comes out as the best. Is it Durant? Is it Giannis? Just Embiid. Because honestly, Jokic is not a one-on-one player. Embiid is. Giannis is.
LeBron.
Lillard, LeBron, AD. Chet and Wemby would be fun to watch. Like that could be a really fun event. And again, if you want to incentivize it, I don't think you need to at that event because it is like there is nobody else. So the guys who take it seriously are gonna crush the guys who don't, and then it's just gonna make you look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why they wouldn't want to add it because they don't want to make guys look bad or guys don't want to play in something that makes them look bad. But that's why I'd want it because I want guys to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that'd be fun. And then you can even do like a cage instead of doing like 16 just players, do like an 8 bigs versus, and like eight players and it's 8 bigs and then 8 guards. And do the guards from different teams and the bigs from different teams. So you get 16 different teams involved, right? So, and if there is like a LeBron AD situation, then you take AD because no offense, LeBron's 38. Like in fairness, he's 38. Unless LeBron wants to be in it. And then like the Bucks can choose Giannis or Lillard to play in it. The Celtics can choose Tatum or Brown to play in it. Scotty Barnes could go and play. Embiid. Instead of sending Jokic, the Nuggets can send Jamal Murray or Anthony or Aaron Gordon.
Mm-hmm.
What he could do in the Bigs comp. Like Lauri Markkanen can play in the Bigs comp. That could be fun. Lauri
Yep.
Markkanen versus Embiid. I want to watch that. Ones and twos, first to 11. I want to see Lauri Markkanen take on Joel Embiid.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it sounds like Embiid would body him. If it's loser's ball, you think Markkanen's not going to be able to cash in a couple threes on Joel Embiid? Create his own shot? You kidding me?
Yep.
Like, I want to see it. I want to see it. I want to see Giannis try to get through a guy like Tatum or Luka take on a guy like I'll say Lillard, but Halliburton or Maxey, because Doncic is a great player, and he's able to create his own shot, but you don't give him that pick and roll guy. He's got to do it by himself. I'm not saying he can't, but I want to see it. I want to see Halliburton take him on. Like you can have a lot of fun with something like that. You can have a lot of interesting matchups. Where does Curry fit into that? Because Curry's got to be in it, you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think a one-on-one competition could be really fun.
I like that idea.
And if you do make it incentivized, you make it like a $5 million, like a couple $1 million for the winner. And then it can even be like a charity thing where they're all representing a different charity in their community, and the winning guy gets 5 million for a charity or 3 million for a charity or something. So then it's not just the greedy players. It's now like Halliburton's playing for, sick kids of Indiana or the homeless or whatever. Cancer, pick the charity. There's tons of them everywhere for
Mm.
all kinds of great causes that deserve attention. So you could really make it a fun event without taking away from the competitiveness of the event, which I think is really the important part. Is it's going to be interesting because of the way it's formatted. It's got nothing to do with just that the charities are now involved, or if you just want to give the players the money. That they're not just representing something, whatever, right?
Mm.
Like I think it'd be really fun, and you and I could have everybody could have fun with that. Like you could have debate shows just about who beats who, and depending on the brackets, if Embiid's across from Laurie Markkinen, they're on different sides of the bracket. Will that affect anything? Or if Jokic does play in it, how does Jokic fit into this? How does Miles Turner, somehow with his defensive acumen, does Jaren Jackson Jr. As a defensive player of the year, can he stop Embiid or something? You could have a lot of fun with matchups.
Mm.
A lot of fun with that. So I just think a one-on-one comp, as much as players wouldn't like it because of them looking bad, if they were a charity and they're representing a charity and they had to take it seriously, and it's just better man wins on the day, I think you could have a lot of fun with something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just having fun talking about it. It doesn't even exist. It will never exist. I'm just having fun talking about it.
Mm.
Like, you know what, Cage? I'm just thinking about it now. Luka Doncic versus James Harden. Like, who wins? And again, we don't take free throws. Just foul gets the ball. Call your own
Luka.
fouls. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander against Luka Doncic. Who wouldn't want to see the two top scorers right now in the NBA? D.
Mm.
Mitch, getting involved. Does Rudy Gobert win the bigs because he's so good defensively, but he can't shoot? Where does Trae Young fit into that with his shot creating ability? Does De'Aaron Fox get a mention in the guard competition? What about Devin Booker? What about Jalen Brunson? What about Anthony Edwards? What about Tyrese Maxey? What about Lillard, of course, as I already mentioned?
Mm-hmm.
Paul George, who's a guard. As I mentioned, Curry earlier. And then going over to the bigs, Anthony Davis, Rudy Gobert might get a mention. Cat, of course. Sabonis, Adebayo. I think Giannis would count. Obviously Wemby and Chet Holmgren would probably get a mention.
Jaren Jackson
Sengun,
Jr. maybe.
Anthony Sengun, Alperny Sengun. Laurie Markkinen.
Yup.
You mentioned Jokic, of course, who would probably want to be in it. Like you could have so much fun. Miles Turner, Jaren Jackson Jr., as you said. Does Zubac get in it for the Clippers? Of course, my guy is Kristaps Porzingis. Like you could have so much fun. Just figuring out matchups and who takes on who, and being able to seed it, and figuring out how you want to seed it. Is it based on what team they play for? Is it based off their points per game? Is it based off voting? Like
Mm.
you could have so much fun. Like imagine, Cage, just imagine we did an 8 big man tournament, 1-on-1s, 1 seed Embiid, 8 seed Wembanyama. How much fun would that 1-on-1 be? Like,
Damn.
Markkinen versus Chet Holmgren. Like, I want to see that. I'd buy tickets to see that. I don't buy tickets to nothing. I'd pay tickets to go see 1-on-1s. Like, you could just have so much fun with an idea like that.
Mm-hmm.
With guys like that. Kevin Durant. I mentioned Kevin Durant. He'd be there. He may win the damn thing. And then And then, Cage, you can even do an event where you just have the old vets talking about, if they played in it, who would have won? Magic and Bird and MJ and Barkley and Karl Malone and John Stockton. Hakeem Olajuwon arguing who would win in their day. Shaquille O'Neal. Of course, of the inside the NBA crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could take this so many ways, which is why I love it so much, and why I keep rambling about it, because it is just such a fun idea. And honestly, Cage, now thinking about it, you and I may do that. You and I may create, like I'll say a 1 through 8, or we'll come up with some criteria, but we may create like a 1-on-1 and who would win. A bracket you and I create, for bigs and guards and whatever, and figure out who we think would win a 1-on-1. I think that could be fun. And again, it's purely subjective because we're the guys arguing about it. We're never going to see it, so we can't prove anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it could be fun. But we'll decide if we think that's fun. It's not even think we can do it and think it's fun, but regardless. So I think we've rambled enough about the All-Star game. That was, in all honesty, garbage, but, has potential. As every All-Star game does have potential. It just usually never capitalizes on it. For lots of reasons, for too many reasons why they don't do some of the things that fans would want to see. And I knew that wouldn't take us long to talk about the All-Star Weekend because I didn't watch it, and you didn't want to watch it, so and it wasn't a great weekend. I don't think anyone's talking about it as a successful event.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna move off of it and what we think we could change or add or manipulate, and we're gonna talk about something because we talked about one of the last episodes. Ironically, we just kind of moved into it. We talked about our preseason conferences, East and West.
Yeah.
We're not gonna talk about something else we did preseason. Our top 10 position rankings. And we haven't updated them. We may do that going into the All-Star break, or going into the All-Star game, or the trade deadline, pardon me. But we're going to tell you where we ranked guys, and if we think we overranked or underranked them, or if we thought we ranked them properly. Okay, Cage?
Yep.
So yours is on the left, mine's on the right for anyone talking about this. So I'll say Cajun's first and mine second. So
Okay.
Kajan ranked Luka Doncic number 1. I ranked Luka Doncic number 1 for point guards. I think that's the right ranking. I don't think you can really argue anybody over Luka Doncic right now as the leading NBA scorer in points per game at 34 per game. Would you agree?
Yep.
We both put Steph Curry number 2. I think you can argue that right now, but I don't think we're wrong. So I think that's fair. For Steph,
I think there's one guy you can argue with.
And he's who you put third in
Yep.
Tyrese Halliburton. I put Damian Lillard third.
And you
I
sh-
think
and you were shocked that I ranked him that high.
I probably ranked Lillard a little too high, but that's also because he has not been, as we talked about last episode, has not been the same player in Milwaukee that he was in Portland. I think Portland Lillard's 3. I think Milwaukee Lillard's a little bit lower than that. So I would say I overranked Lillard. I think Halliburton's fairly rated, but I wouldn't argue with you if you said you underrated him because he may be the second best point guard right now in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll move off. You put Lillard 4th. I put Darius Garland 4th. I love Darius Garland. I gush over Darius Garland. I overrated Darius Garland. I did. I overrated Darius Garland. Not by much, in my opinion, but I definitely did put him a little too high. Do you feel like you do? Where do you think Lillard fits right now for you? Over, under, or fairly rated?
I'd say maybe a spot down.
So a little overrated. Kind of like me, a little overrated.
Yeah, because I underrated somebody else.
Well, you put De'Aaron Fox 5th. I put Halliburton 5th. I underrated Tyrese Halliburton. I thought I fairly rated him at the start of the season. I thought you overrated him a little bit, as much as I love Tyrese Halliburton. We love Tyrese Halliburton. He has played out of his mind. So I underrated Halliburton. What do you think about for Fox?
I think I put him a spot down because I'm raising this guy up from 6 to 4.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So you put Jalen Brunson 6, so you're saying you'd move up.
I'd
I
move
put
Jalen
De'Aaron
Brunson.
Fox 6, and I'm happy with that De'Aaron Fox pick. I think 6 is perfect right now for De'Aaron Fox.
I'd put Brunson 4th, Load 5th, and then Fox 6th.
Honestly, I probably would do the same. 'Cause I'd probably move Halliburton up and Fox up. I put Jalen Brunson 7th. You put Trae Young 7th. I probably underrated Jalen Brunson. I wouldn't move him. Like I wouldn't like I'd have to redo it in my brain where I put teams, but I definitely feel like I underrated Brunson a little bit. What do you think about Trae Young?
He's good where he is right now.
You like him at 6? Is that 7th, pardon me? 7th?
Mm-hmm.
You put Darius Garland 8th. I put Jamal Murray 8th. And I don't think I'd move him. I'm kind of happy with Jamal Murray being 8th, the 8th best point guard in the NBA. Still.
I'm okay. I'd move Murray up from 10 to 8
So you move Garland down?
to 9.
So you feel like you overrate Darius Garland. That's fair.
Just a little bit.
So now, ironically, Cage, both our 9 spots are garbage, but for very different reasons. LaMelo Ball is your 9th place
Yep.
guard. John Morant is my 9th place guard.
And injuries have pretty
Injuries and suspension have ruined both those picks. Well,
So who
I'm
would-
not sure LaMelo where he fits right now in the point guard conversation. I think John's still a top 10 point guard, but you can't this season because he hasn't played. He's played like 6 or 8 games this year, and that's what he'll play this year because of the shoulder injury. So
I think a healthy LaMelo is a top 10 point guard, but healthy.
yeah, exactly. Which he hasn't been.
Mm.
So we probably both move those guys off of the list. And I don't know who would move into the list, Cage, for him, but
I'm just thinking.
we'd have to move somebody in. And, I'm not going to say he moves in yet, Cage, but, Keontae George had a 33-point night in the last game before the All-Star break.
That I heard.
So, where does he eventually fit himself into this conversation? That's all I
Just
guess.
trying to
Kate Cunningham. Does Kate Cunningham find a way into the top 10 right now, even though he plays for the garbage Detroit Pistons? Does
I think
Emmanuel quickly make his way up?
there was somebody else that I had in mind. Fred VanVleet.
I mean, maybe, but I just think his percentages are so garbage. He's such a bad shooter. Like,
He is such a
he's
bad shooter, but he's a great forward general.
actually Cage. I'm just gonna check something. Okay, we did. All right, okay. I would move Maxey up because I put Maxey 10. You put Jamal Murray 10. You mentioned you move him up. I would move Maxey up. You made him a shooting guard. I made him a point guard, and he's playing point guard this year.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick to him being a shooting guard though because
We'll fix that. We'll fix that for next year. Obviously, we won't move guys around now, but we'll fix that for next year. Kind of like how
fairness,
you
at the
made Jaren
beginning-
Jackson Jr. a center.
But in
I
fairness,
made him
at
a
the
power
beginning
forward.
of the season, Harden was still on the team, so I
Well, exactly. I did the same thing though with Jaren Jackson Jr. You made him a center. I made him a power forward because Steven Adams was still on the team, and now Steven Adams is hurt and traded. So, now he's a center.
You know what? I already found number 10, James Harden.
I mean, I'd argue Bradley Beal should be there too, or Devin Booker, depending on who you call the point guard in Phoenix.
And neither of them had been as healthy as Harden.
I guess that's fair. I still don't know if Harden makes my top 10. I really have to find that next top 10, that number 10 guard, but maybe it would be Cunningham for me because I do really love Cade Cunningham. Or is it Trae Young? Honestly, I didn't put Trae Young in my list, so maybe Trae Young moves in and I bump Ja down because of injury. But I'm kind of happy with my point guards, to be honest. Obviously, you move a couple guys around, but I don't think we had, other than maybe for me, Darius Garland, I probably overrated a little bit too high. But I think for me, I'm pretty happy with my list.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
am too.
I don't think I really had a miss or a big hit. You know what I mean? Like Halliburton for you, I think is a big hit. I think Fox for me is a pretty big hit. You know, obviously they're the top
Yeah,
guys are the top guys.
Halliburton, you said I ranked highly, but
Well, you did at the time, and now he's proven it, right? He's moved up the rankings, and I think he now perfectly personifies third place in a really good race.
you could argue he's second.
You could argue he's above Curry, but you know I think Curry does still get the nod because of you know his acclimate.
Mm-hmm.
Now moving to shooting guards, we both rated Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's number one. I think we're both happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
You made Devin Booker the second best shooting guard. I made Jaylen Brown the second best shooting guard. I made Devin Booker the third best shooting guard. You made Jaylen Brown the best shooting guard. I'm happy with my rankings. I'm happy with mine. And yeah, you can call me a biased Celtics fan. I don't care. Do not care. I'm still happy with Jaylen Brown being number one on the best team in the NBA. So I'm happy. And I already see moving rankings around because at number 4, you had Donovan Mitchell. At number 4, I had Kyrie Irving at number 4. Because obviously he's now playing for the beside the number 1 point guard in the NBA in Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, looking at your quick edits here on the doc, you would move Brown down exponentially and move some guys up below him, including Donovan Mitchell, up to 3. So obviously, you feel like you overrated Jaylen Brown a little bit this year, Cage?
I think it's just more so like Brown's had a subpar year by his standards, and Mitchell's been great. And
Mitchell's
so
been on a
Ant.
great pace right now.
And so is Ant.
You put Anthony Edwards 6th. I put Anthony Edwards 6th. I think you and I can both agree, a little better than 6th right now in the NBA is Anthony Edwards.
I moved him now to 4th.
And I gotta be honest, I think I'm moving Kyrie down exponentially. Well, actually, stats are really good. It's just injuries have really plagued Kyrie, and that might just drop him because of it.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
actually,
well, again, I'll let Cage mess with his sheet as I continue through. So we both put Shea 1. I put Brown, Jaylen Brown 2, and Booker 3. He put Booker 2, Brown 3. He put Donovan Mitchell 4. I put Kyrie 4. He put Kyrie 5th. I put Donovan Mitchell 5th. I'd probably move Mitchell up. Anthony Edwards was 6th for both of us. He put DeJounte Murray at 7. I put Bradley Beal at 7, which I'm still happy with. I know one of them plays point guard, Booker or Beal. They're both natural shooting guards. I'm still happy with where Beal's placed. Yeah, injuries have really derailed them, but as right now the third option, Phoenix, he's a really good third option for a team with a lot of upside. You put Paul George 8th on the best shooting guards in the NBA. I put DeJounte Murray. You put Tyrese Maxey at 9 of the best shooting guards in the NBA. I put James Harden at 9, which you could argue he maybe could move up. I would keep him in that kind of echelon, though, around Beal and DeJounte. Obviously, you'd move Maxey up, Cage.
Yeah, I move him up to 5th. Brown's at 6th.
And then we both ironically put Desmond Bane at 10th, who I think was a hit for both of us.
I would say it would have been a hit had he not been gotten hurt.
Well, yeah, but I can't predict injury. But before his injury, Cage, he was the best player on the Memphis Grizzlies. And yeah, they suck. And yeah, they're without John Morant. But when John Morant comes back, he's got a darn good team around him. But I will mention now, Cage, as you quickly re-rank. So you've moved a lot of guys around in that shooting guard rankings. Nobody falls out, but you moved everybody around. Just about.
So I now have Donovan Mitchell 3rd, Anthony Edwards 4th, Tyrese Maxey 5th, Jaylen Brown 6th, Kyrie Irving 7th, Paul George stays at 8, Murray drops to 9, and Bane's at 10th.
Gotta be honest here, Cage. I think you're disrespecting my boy Jaylen Brown, putting him below Tyrese Maxey. But that's just me. especially because Maxey is a point guard. But anyway, we won't argue. We
Well,
won't
I'm
argue.
not
We
gonna.
won't argue. We won't argue.
Hold
It's
on,
okay.
hold on.
It's okay.
No,
It's okay.
no. You've opened up that can of worms.
It's okay. It's okay, kids.
No disrespect. No,
You can be wrong. It's okay. You can be wrong. It's all right. You can be wrong. We can move on now.
except I'm not wrong. In the sense that Mitchell, Edwards, and Maxey have had better seasons than Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown's this year has not been as good as previous years.
No, it's okay. His team's best in the NBA. So you know what? It's fine. You know what? You can
We're
take your wins
talking
when you get 'em.
individual stats right now, right?
You can take your wins when you get them. Okay, it's fine. It's
Team
fine.
rankings don't matter in this sort of rankings.
Well, I think he'll take it.
Individual rankings matter, and right now, and this season, Mitchell, Edwards, and Maxey have had better seasons than Jaylen Brown.
I wouldn't argue Mitchell. I wouldn't even really argue Ant. Maxey, I would. But anyway, so moving on to small forwards.
You don't think Maxey's had a better season than Jaylen Brown?
Maxey's a point guard, though, so I still argue with you over that one.
I think he is a point guard, but I can't just change that right now.
I'm not saying you can. I'm just saying you're wrong. So the vote's invalid anyway. So you know what? It's fine.
He wasn't a point guard at the time.
It's okay, Cage. It's okay to be wrong. Splash, your opinion is trash. We're gonna move on to the small forwards. So on to the small forwards.
You having Jaylen Brown at 2 is questionable, but okay.
Well, it's all right, Cage. It's all right. Shh, it's all right.
That Khaled looking like.
To the small forwards, finally. Jason Tatum is the number one small forward on both our lists, and I am overjoyed to say that is staying the same. I don't care what you say. I don't care what number you put beside him. He's still the best small forward in the NBA right now.
You're gonna be so pissed off when I put this.
Yep.
I kid, by the way.
Yeah, of course. You're gonna move. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Anyway. So you put LeBron James at number 2. I put Kevin Durant at number 2. You put KD at 3. I put LeBron at 3. I'm happy with my rankings. I think you should flip-flop KD and James, especially with how good KD's been.
Yeah, but LeBron hasn't been bad either.
I never argued that. KD right now is 5th in league scoring. LeBron's 16th. And LeBron's been dealing, and yeah, you can argue LeBron's a better passer, but
we're talking this season, right?
Yeah.
Hold up.
I mean, KD percentages, he's shooting 54% from the field. 44% from 3 is Kevin Durant. The guy has been disgusting.
Hold up.
I see you, mixing up your sheets over there. I'm just, going to keep it going. Jimmy Butler, you and I both put Jimmy Buckets at number 4. I think I overrated him personally. I think Jimmy Butler sucks. So I'll probably move him down, but, we put Butler at 4. You put Mikal Bridges at 5th. I put Kawhi Leonard at 5th, which I think was a great pick. I think Leonard's been great and been healthy, which has been a big problem for him. Big problem for him.
I had Leonard at 6. I'm moving him up exponentially.
Yeah, you've have him listed at 2 from 6, so you've moved him up, as you said, rather high, rather quickly.
He's been healthy.
I put Brandon Ingram at 6th, while you put Kawhi a spot below me. I put him 5th, you put him 6th. And I got to be honest, Cage, I'm kind of happy with my Ingram pick, because I think Ingram is a really good player, and the Pelicans have been a pretty darn good team. And he is a big contributing factor to that for the Pelicans. So I'm happy with my evaluation of Ingram. I put Franz Wagner at 7. You put DeMar DeRozan at 7. I'm happy with my Wagner pick. Big fan of Franz and the Orlando Magic. Yeah, they've been struggling as of late, but Franz Wagner is still a really good ball player and continues to be for the, middling Orlando Magic, the in-season finalists.
Mm-hmm.
You put Brandon Ingram 8th. I put Michael Porter Jr. 8th, which, as much as I love MPJ, may be a little bit high for the role he plays for the Denver Nuggets. But, I'm a fan of Porter Jr. The guy I'd probably put above him is, ironically, in your 9th hole and my 9th hole, Scotty Barnes, who's been so good this year for the Raptors. I didn't have him on the list. Scotty Barnes did not make my top 10 list, which was probably an oversight by me.
Yeah.
Scotty Barnes is in the top 10.
I know you ain't a Raptors fan. Far from it, but come on.
he would move in. He would move in. I will admit he would move in. But anyway, so you put Barnes at 9. I put Mikhail Bridges at 9. I'd probably move Bridges up 2 because he's been so good this year. And then you put Franz Wagner 10, which I
I'm
think maybe a little lower for
I'm changing
Franz.
that. I'm changing that right now.
And then I put Keldon Johnson at 10. And honestly, I'm not mad with that. Yeah,
Nope.
Keldon's not been starting a lot for San Antonio, which does surprise me, but he's still a really good ball player. And he may be the second best player right now in San Antonio, right beside Devin Vassell. Of course, behind Victor Wembanyama.
Mm-hmm.
So Caden Cage, I'm not re-ranking him yet because obviously I'd have to figure out. Probably Johnson falls out and I move Barnes somewhere in, but and Porter might even fall out, and then what I would do with that. But how your rankings have moved around a lot. So who's moving where and why?
All right, Tatum's 1. Kawhi Leonard is 2
Moving up from 6th.
because he's played at an MVP caliber level and he's been healthy. A healthy Kawhi Leonard is a top 3 small forward. Or in that discussion. I have KD 3rd, LeBron 4th, Ingram at 5th, Scotty Barnes at 6th, Jimmy Butler at 7th, Franz Wagner 8, Mikal Bridges 9, DeRozan 10th.
I think DeRozan should fall out, but that's just me.
But for who?
I honestly, I know I'm really biased to Keldon Johnson, and I know their seasons are comparable because the teams they play on and the roles they play. But I do love me some Johnson. But anyway, we'll move on to the power forwards, which is where Cajun got polarizing. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Anthony Davis were our number 1 and number 2. Giannis the 1, Anthony Davis 2. I think those are both very good picks by us.
Yep.
Like they're the obvious ones, and they're where they're supposed to be.
Yep.
You put Pascal Siakam at number 3. I put Lauri Markkanen at number 3. I think Siakam's a little high on your list and my list. Lauri Markkanen, though, not that mad about being 3 right now. And yeah, he plays for Utah, and yeah, they suck. But Lauri Markkanen's averaging 23 a night right now, shooting 40% from the 3-point line. Like he's playing really well.
Are we gonna go to 4?
And at 4, as Kajan is trying to usher me, Kajan put Victor Wembanyama. I put Pascal Siakam. As I said, I overranked him, and I know Kajan's been gushing ever since he put Wembanyama fourth that how right he was, and that he planted the flag before the season even started, and rah 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 garbage. But anyway, Lauri Markkanen was Kajan's 5th. Julius Randle was my 5th.
I didn't even rank Julius Randle because I don't like him, but
I mean, he's averaging 24 a night, 9 rebounds and 5 assists, Cage. I mean, he's a top 10 power forward.
I didn't. You didn't let me finish. That was an oversight on my end.
Now, was an oversight on your end. You're right. We both put Evan Mobley at 6. I guess Mobley. But I honestly, Cage, while really looking at the stat sheet for the Cavs power forward, I think it's a pretty good ranking. On a really hot Cavs team, and he's dealt with injury this year. I'm pretty happy with that. Him being 6th. Are you happy with your ranking of him?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm actually going to move Wemby up to 3.
Of course you are. Anyway, so you put Karl Anthony Towns 7. I put Jaren Jackson Jr. 7. Another player we argued about position. Cajun put him center. I put him power forward. He's now playing center because of. Go ahead.
Because Gobert. Oh, we messed up.
How we mess up?
Gobert center.
What do you mean? Where like he should be in the rankings?
We'll get to that in a bit.
Well, no. Rudy Gobert sucks. No, I disagree. I know what you're gonna say. Don't care. Anyway, So
He's not a
Karl-Anthony
top 10
Towns is
center?
7. He's probably 10. But anyway, Karl-Anthony Towns you put at 7 for the power forwards.
He's
I
more
put
than
Jaren
10.
Jackson. I put Jaren Jackson Jr. at 7. You and I argued about position. You put Jaren Jackson Jr. at center. I put him at power forward. He's my 7th power forward. I'm happy with him being my 7th power forward. We both, and we ironically had 7, 8, 9, and 10 for us were the exact same. We both put Boncaro at 8. We both put Aaron Gordon at 9. And we both put Zion Williamson at 10. And I got to be honest, Cage, of those 3 players, all of which are good players, and like we ranked them the same, the Zion Williamson shout was probably the best one because health is his biggest problem. He's averaging 22 a night, almost shooting 60% from the floor.
Mm.
Like, he is exactly what was advertised. And I'm still a big fan of Boncaro. And, Aaron Gordon is not my favorite player in the NBA, but he knows his role and he's damn good at it.
Mm.
So I'll be honest, I'm kind of happy with my power forward rankings. Yeah, I'd probably move
Oh,
Siakam down and probably find a way to. I wouldn't put Cat in still because Cat sucks anyway. I don't know. I'd probably move somebody in. I'm just trying to think of who I would probably move in. Because no one, I don't think, falls out. I'm just trying to think of other guys that would be like on the fringes to move Aaron Gordon out. Kajan, you just wrote a new name now, so go ahead with your re-rankings of your power forwards.
Julius Randle, I gotta put him in there, but I don't know.
Oh, you're dropping Gordon for him?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. Gotta put him somewhere. As much as I don't like Julius Randle. Because of Brunson, but hey. I will put Towns 8. Zion 9, Paolo 10th. Yeah.
So Cat moves down. Well, again, Cat's not in my rankings, and he will stay out of my rankings because Cat sucks. Anyway, we'll now move to the centers,
Mm-hmm.
where again we agreed on the top 3. Jokic 1, Joel Embiid 2, DeMontis Sabonis 3. And I think maybe Sabonis you could argue, but those are the best centers in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
DeMontis still leads the way for rebounding, might I add, in the NBA right now. He's almost a full rebound ahead of the guy you just mentioned, Rudy Gobert. So, and he also averages 8 assists a game. So again, just so good. So good.
Yep.
Anyway, so you had Jaren Jackson Jr. at 4 in centers. I had Kristaps Porzingis at 4. And again, Cage, I am very happy with my Kristaps Porzingis pick. It was early.
I'm in agreement with you. I'm moving him up to 4th.
You put him at 6th, skipping Bam Adebayo, who you put 5th. I put Miles Turner 5th, which may be a little high. Going
Mhm.
for my basically perfect ranking of Kristaps Porzingis, who's fantastic, might I add, fantastic this year, to Miles Turner, who I definitely can say that I overrated a little bit.
Is he top
With
10
that
though?
ranking. I would say he's still top 10. He's averaging 17 a game. His rebounding's gone down, but his shot blocking's still there. A player that I really overrated was DeAndre Ayton. I put DeAndre Ayton 6th, where you put Kristaps preseason. Ayton's probably maybe off the list. I'm not really sure. I'd have to figure out, where it ended up putting him. At 7, you had Miles Turner. That's honestly probably good for Miles is 7. I had Bam at 7, which I honestly think may be a little low for Bam Adebayo, who I am a fan of, by the way. I don't like Miami, as we all know, but I do like Bam Adebayo. He has no 3-point shot though. He's shooting 9% from the 3-point line, so no
Made
3-point
in the
shot.
All-Star game and looked pretty good shooting it.
Well, he's shooting 0.9%. He's shooting 9% from 3. So I'm not arguing, Cage. I'm just saying Just saying,
Mhm.
Cage. But at 8, you had DeAndre Ayton. I had Brooke Lopez at 8, which was probably an overration by me. But
Mhm.
definitely talk about a guy who fits into his role in Brooke Lopez.
Yep.
You had, and I love this guy, but you definitely overrated him, and you've already
Yep.
kind of rectified that in your re-rankings. Walker Kessler was number 9 for Kajan. Love Walker Kessler myself, but he has basically not really played for Utah this year, which again is one of the many problems happening in Utah with all the young guys they've got, and the mishmash with like John Collins and Jordan Clarkson, and I love Colin Sexton and Keontae George and
Yep.
Kendrick Dunn
Kristen Dunn.
or Chris Dunn, pardon me. I was thinking of Kendrick Nunn, but yeah, Chris Dunn and Horton Tucker and just a ton of players right now in Utah getting minutes and getting games played.
Mm. So
As my body keeps trying to shut down on me. So Kessler was overrated by you. I don't think that's on your fault. I think it's Utah's fault, but still, he's definitely not been the 9th best center in the NBA. I put Jonas Valanciunas at number 9, and I'm honestly not even mad about that one for Jonas.
I think, but the next one we definitely underrated this dude.
Well, ironically, we probably fairly rated him at the start of the year, and now he's been underrated. Alfred Alperny Sengun, pardon me.
Alperen Şengün.
Yeah, Alperen Sengun definitely is not the 10th best center in the NBA. Where you and I both put him.
Yeah, I put him at 5th now.
So go with your re-rankings, Carriage. Where did you rank the guys in your re-rankings?
Well, Jokic, Embiid, and Sabonis are 1, 2, and 3 in order. I have Porzingis at 4.
Moving up to where I ranked him preseason.
Yeah, from 6 to 4. I have Şengün from 10th to now 5th.
Which honestly, I don't think you can really argue with how good he's been for the Rockets. He's been called Jokic light, even by
Baby
you.
Jokic. He's been called Baby Jokic.
And then you put
Rudy Gobert at 6th.
that's a joke. Anyway, continue.
I mean, him
Whatever you say,
anchoring the
Cage.
best, him anchoring the best defense in the NBA right now gotta mean something. That to me means something. Defense is an important part of basketball, and it wins championships at the end of the day. And Minnesota's defense wouldn't be the defense that it is right now without Rudy Gobert. So I got to take that into account.
But you take it into account, and you count that somewhere else. But anyway, continue.
I have Bam Adebayo 7th, Jaren Jackson Jr. 8th, Miles Turner 9th, and DeAndre Ayton 10th.
I don't really think there's anybody we're missing there, to be completely honest. I'd probably move Brooke Lopez out of my rankings, of course, and probably move in.
Gobert?
No, Brooke Bear doesn't get in.
No, he's a top center. And like him or not, he's a top 10 center.
Well, if I'm not moving Cat, I'm not moving Gobert in.
Yeah,
So you know what? You're not gonna hate this one. Jared Allen with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He'd probably move in instead of Brooke Lopez.
Damn.
You know? The Rudy Gobert better version, in the Eastern Conference.
I got a decision to make here.
Ooh. Did I just bring a new name for you? Did you just remember Jared Allen exists?
Also, you just remember Jared Allen too.
I didn't just remember anything. I was just saying maybe he moves into the list with how good his team has played and his play.
You're going to 9th. Miles Turner, you're going to 10th, and because you've been so inconsistent, bye-bye DeAndre Ayton. Hello, Jared Allen at 8th.
Jared Allen and Rudy Gobert debut at 6 and 8 on Kajan and Thievery with Andy Castlem's center rankings. I mean, center's probably the position we've had the most movement on, which doesn't really surprise me because of the litany of centers that, like, kind of make their way in. Wembanyama will be on that list next year because he is a center. He sadly doesn't play like a small forward role. He does play center. Chet Holmgren would also probably find a way
that he's
into
not
the.
even ranked top 10 on your thing.
Huh?
That's so disrespectful that he's not even ranked top 10 on your thing.
Who?
Oh, wait a second.
Does Chet Holmgren make an in-cage, by the way? I just mentioned Chet Holmgren.
I was about to say that. But is he a power forward or a center?
He's a center. He's a center.
This gets
And
tough.
then
Hold up.
another center cage, and another center cage that probably should get mentioned is Zubac. Not
He's
saying he
missed
makes
a
the
lot of
list,
time
Cage,
with a
but
calf injury.
yeah, but I'm just saying, maybe another center that you could argue should be on the list.
What the hell do I drop?
Cajun going through the conundrum that is ranking guys in the top 10. It's hard to find spots in the top 10.
Miles Turner, you're gone.
Chet Holmgren makes it in.
Holmgren's
See,
got him.
that's what I do, Cage. I drop Brook Lopez, and I honestly, Cage, I wouldn't move anybody in my center list. I just drop Brook Lopez and put in Chet Holmgren. I wouldn't be bad about that. Obviously, I'll re-rank my guys later. I won't do it right now because I just think, there's a lot of names. You got through the stat sheet, I want to kind of put some thought into it. But,
So, Jokic, Embiid, Sabonis, Porzingis, Şengün. Holmgren's now 6th.
Wow. Holmgren's really jumped up.
I don't know how he slipped my mind. Adebayo 7th. Rudy Gobert 8th now. Jared Allen 9th, and Jaren Jackson Jr. 10th.
What an 8, 9, 10. Like, what? Gobert, Allen, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Talk about no offense, all defense. My God. My God.
I mean,
I'm not arguing, Cage. Cage, I'm not arguing about the ranking. I'm just saying, what a trio. What a trio.
Yep.
And I gotta be honest, Cage. Go ahead.
To sum things up, not much movement in terms of our point guards.
Basically none, to be honest.
But
Which honestly doesn't really surprise me. Like, yeah, you move a guy up or down a spot because of hot starts and stuff, like Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson, for example. But I know you had Mitchell and shooting guards, but regardless, right? Like, that kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like the big movement was at the center spot.
Yeah.
Which again, I think is because of Şengün being so good in Houston.
Yep.
And Chet Holmgren being so good in OKC. Because I love Chet Holmgren. I had him, as a great player coming out of Gonzaga. And he's been better than advertised, I'd say, in his rookie season.
He has.
And Kristaps has played great for Boston this year. People really didn't know what he would be for the Celtics, and he's been really good. Like, really good. So, it definitely, has been for our rankings. I mean, still, and honestly, Cage, one more name I'm going to throw at you for centers that I don't think makes it in. Nikola Vucevic. Does he find a way into the top 10 centers in the NBA right now? Averaging 17 a night.
No. He's kind of been held, like, he's missed some time, and the Bulls haven't been very good. He's on the bubble, though.
And one guy we haven't mentioned that I'm just going to throw out there. Does Kyle Kuzma find a way to the small forwards list? Because that's where, again, where I don't want to re-rank guys and just say, like, oh, of the 10 I ranked, this is where I put them now. Because I do want to kind of go back and say, well, Kyle Kuzma's been great this year. So maybe Keldon Johnson falls out, Michael Porter Jr. falls out, and Kuzma jumps in, and another guy jumps in, and you kind of revigorate that way. So we might do that next episode where we re-update our list and just tell you who we picked and why we put them there.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how we'll start off the next episode when we come back from the first set of games at the All-Star break.
Yep.
But again, we'll say, Cage, all in all, we didn't criminally underrank anybody.
No.
I don't
Maybe
feel
the
like
cen-
you
maybe
and
the
I.
centers, but
I wouldn't even say that though, because no one knew Sengun was going to be a. You and I thought we were trailblazers, putting him at 10, right? No one knew Sengun was going to be this good. Porzingis.
I gotta say,
Yeah.
there's 2 picks I'm really happy with.
Okay, so there you go. So who are your best picks? Do you think?
Wemby
What a surprise!
and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, I don't think I can argue with that.
because I saw how good he was, drafting him in fantasy and trading for him in fantasy. He was just never healthy throughout an entire season. Now he is, and look how and his ranking in the point guard position speaks for itself.
See, for me, I think my Lauri Markkanen pick third in my power forwards. I think that was a great pick by me. I'm really happy with my Lauri Markkanen shout. And then I got to be honest, Kristaps. Putting him at 4 right behind Sabonis, right behind Joel and Nicola. I think Kristaps is right there. I think you
Mhm.
could argue Kristaps has been better than DeMontis this year. That's no offense to Sabonis. I think it's just been Porzingis has been so good.
I would not go that far.
But those are probably my 2 best, and then my 2 worst. To be honest, you could maybe
Kessler for me.
my 2 worst. Well, probably Keldon Johnson and/or Michael Porter Jr. I definitely will rank those 2 guys, even though I do like the player. I probably overranked him.
I think Walker Kessler for me was a miss.
Aaron Gordon maybe for me, but you and I both had Aaron Gordon in, so I don't feel as bad for that one. And then Brook Lopez, I think, was the big reach for me. It was Brook Lopez. But other than those, couple, I feel pretty good about mine. And then obviously you, Walker Kessler, as you said, kind of overrated. But again, I don't blame you. I love Walker Kessler. I think he's a great player. I think he gets the minutes, kind of like Oscar Thompson. You and I feel about Oscar.
I guess by default I'll say LaMelo Ball, but that's injuries.
Same thing with me with John Morant. Yeah, I overrated him technically, but that's not because of talent. It's because of injury and suspension.
Yeah. Our biggest miss or oversight.
Well, I think you could argue Chet Holmgren, but I didn't rank rookies, so I won't take the blame for that.
Yeah, Holmgren I missed out. Well,
But I think you not ranking Julius Randle also was a big miss for you.
yeah, that might be the biggest one. Because
that and Kessler, I think, are the big misses for you.
Yeah, because in fairness with Holmgren, this man was also coming off a list rank injury.
Yep, a foot injury. Yep.
So you didn't know how good he was going to be coming in.
No, you didn't. No,
He was going to be good. This good?
How good? Yeah, but how good? Was he going to be one of the best players on one of the best teams in the NBA? No, no one thought that.
No.
Not even his biggest fan here in Canada.
What, you?
This guy, the Gonzaga Bulldog, the Mark Q fan,
Okay.
the guy who watched him play with Jay Sugg and Andrew Nemhart and Julian Strother. Yeah, this guy right here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it, Kate. I think we'll do a little bit of rejiggering and some re-rankings. You already kind of did yours. I'll do mine, and then for Thursday we'll start off with where we would rank guys right now in the NBA season, and we'll keep obviously we'll keep the original. We'll revise it now, and then when the season ends, going into the playoffs, we'll probably talk about it again and just say, we ranked him here preseason, we moved him here at All-Star break, All-Star weekend. This is
Yep.
where they finished for us. We'll have a finished rankings going into the playoffs, where the guys finished. Maybe who we crown the MVP. Maybe we could do something like that, and MVP per position.
Yep.
So I think that's good. Kate, am I mention anything else? Because I think there's one other thing I want to mention before we go.
No, I'm good. What's yours?
Well, without mentioning anything else in the college ranks, because a couple other things have happened with some big ranked wins on both the men's and women's sides, and some how do I explain, some complaining going on at the college level with a Hall of Fame coach. The one thing I want to mention is Baylor. The Baylor Bears down in Waco retire Brittany Griner's number 42
Yep.
before their game on Sunday, February 19th. So big shout out down there to the Baylor Bears down in Waco, and good for Brittany Griner, who may have been one of the greatest female players ever, but definitely one of the greatest college female players ever. She played fantastic for those Bears and is in the all-time, as Caitlin Clark just broke Kelsey Plum's all-time scoring record. Brittany Griner's on the list as like number 5 or number 4 for all-time points in the NCAA women's career. So, not only was she been a great pro, she's also was a fantastic college player.
Yep.
So,
Big ups.
well earned jersey retirement there for Miss Griner. For sure.
Big ups to Griner.
Big ups to Griner. But with that, I think I will do it for us. So for Kajan Theru, Thanny Castle, I'm Spencer Byers. Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Polar Opposites here on the Outrage Inc.